Welcome to the My Rowlett podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Rabalais, and today we are chatting with Nancy and Colton, who work at the Rowlett Public Library, and we're talking about 5 things that you can do with your library card. And since I started working here, I have learned so much about the resources that our library offers. And I am not a big reader, to be honest. And so I honestly haven't spent a lot of time at any library, especially ours, to be fairly honest. So I was surprised how much y'all offer, our library offers our citizens beyond checking out books. And so I just want to dive into this conversation and just let the listeners know all the other cool things that you can do beyond checking out books. So we've agreed to talk about 5 on this episode because there's so much. So stay tuned because we will be having y'all on more on the podcast, but today we're just going to tackle 5. So before we talk about those 5 main things, I just want y'all to introduce yourselves. I just loved hearing what y'all do at the library. So whoever wants to kick it off, just what you do, what your title is, who wants to start? I'm gonna just say Nancy. No one's volunteering.
No, rule number 1, do not volunteer. Well, I'm Nancy Chevalier, and I am our programming supervisor. So basically all of our programs that we do at the library, such as our story times, any of our family activities, our summer reading program, our winter reading program, any of our movie events that we show, any of our discussions that we have. Basically, I coordinate all of that along with all of our adult ed stuff that we do, so like ESL and GED and computer classes and life skill classes such as resume writing, things like that. So I basically herd a lot of cats. And because on top of that, I'm also considered our adult librarian as well. So I do a lot of our fiction ordering for our adult side of things and our nonfiction stuff. And if there's anything else that our adults need at the library, they come see me.
Wow. How do you fit all of that in 36 hours?
So there's these things I've learned about called black holes. And apparently they siphon away time, and I'm just on the other side collecting all of it.
Amazing. Well, thank you for everything you do. You're both of y'all. So thank you before we even kick this off. So Colton, what about you? What is your role at the library?
So basically, as much as Nancy, we'd kind of call that public services type stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm in technical services. And this is something that you'll kind of, when you're in a library, you're generally going to run into kind of 3 groups of people.
Okay.
Public services folks with, a lot of the programming, a lot of the stuff like Nancy. Tech services, which is kind of my group. And then circulation, which is, mainly the people out working, checking out books, doing a lot of that. So technical services, a lot of how that is basically we're the folks in the dungeon.
Okay.
And I was going to say back of house.
Back of house, dungeon, same thing.
But basically, we generally work in the back. Now, kind of in my thing, you will see me out front some, but basically every book, every DVD, every audiobook, everything we get passes through a couple people, and I'm one of those people. So in my role, I'm taking, and everything that we get, I'm finding its home.
Okay.
So it's 2 things. That's 1, getting a record for it in our catalog, making sure that record makes sense, making sure it's accurate, so that when somebody's doing a search for something on the computer or in the catalog, or when staff are looking for something, they can find it. And then part 2 of that is making sure it has a place to sit on the shelf, which sometimes is really simple. Sometimes it's not, because you can also run into things that are this is a, what's that one we had recently that was a biography, self-help, religious book.
Wow.
And so the question, becomes where does this actually belong?
Right.
That's 3 different places. So you have to kind of go through it and figure out both what really is this book, and also where are people who are looking for this thing actually going to look for it.
Right.
And then kind of find the shelf place for it.
Wow. And I also heard you're the tech guy.
I'm
I've
also-
seen some people come to you like, help me get on my computer.
Yeah, I am also the tech guy, so that's kind of handling some of the computer support in library. That's also like doing one-on-ones for people, so people can contact the library and say, hey, I've got this particular computer thing, my computer's not, I've got this question or this thing's not doing right, or I want to learn this.
Yeah.
And so some of that will get funneled to me, and that's something that somebody can come in and get one-on-one kind of help with that.
It's amazing. I've seen you in action, and the amount of patience I'm sure you have to have. So many questions. I mean, it is overwhelming for some, the tech side of things. And
We've all been there.
Right. Yes.
We've all been there, and we all have those moments where it's just, this morning, why isn't the printer doing what I want it to?
Colton.
No, I was the one doing that this morning.
So who do you call?
Ghostbusters.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for everything you both do, like for our citizens, for our employees. I admire all the things you do in a day. I just was so surprised when I learned about all these things. So thank you. I just can't say that enough. I fell in love with the library. And like I said earlier, I'm not a big reader. So for me to say that, that's a pretty big deal. But let's dive into the 5 resources that we want to talk about today. And I want to kick it off with my personal favorite, Hoopla, right? Is that how you say it? Hoopla.
Yes. Hoopla.
So can you describe, I think I would butcher it. I use it to listen to audiobooks. I know that there's more to it than that. That's how I use it. It doesn't have every audiobook on it. Yeah. Not a lot of popular ones, but I did use it. I'm in a course right now, and so they actually had the book on there so I can listen to it.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
super helpful. And I think Laura said that Hoopla is really good to save on some Audible credits. So it's like, okay, it's it's not everything, but it really does have some. So
Yes.
what is Hoopla beyond you can download an audiobook to your phone?
It's like a digital media repository. So there are audiobooks. There are also videos on there as well.
TV, movies.
Yep, TV, movies. There's a few games for kids as well. So it does have what's considered like the adult side, and then there's also the children's side. So the kids even get their own audiobooks as well. Some of them are even video-based, so that means they get to kind of see a little action that goes along with the book. And so with our subscription, which, Colton, you can correct me since you handle that too. Now, with our adult side, we do have a limit of 5 items per month, and it doesn't matter whether it's audiobooks or movies or TV shows. Each item,
5 checkouts.
you get 5. And then with our children's side, though, if you switch it over to the children's side of the account, those are all unlimited checkouts.
Wow.
So a lot of our homeschool groups really enjoy it. Because they can use it not only for fun, entertaining reading, but also to supplement the lessons that they are doing with their kids.
How much does that cost?
That's a Colton question because I don't handle that.
I mean, for the typical
money.
library card user, how much does that?
It's free.
Zero.
It's all free.
Yeah, it is free.
Yeah, pretty much everything you do at the library is free. So any of our programming that you come to is free. Any of our resources that you use, they're all free. Many people don't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the few things that is paid, which we will discuss later on, are our copying and printing services. But even if you do a one-on-one with Colton, who is our computer guru, or if you're doing a one-on-one with myself, where I do more of the life skills, shall we say. We call it adulting one-on-one.
Yeah.
Like resume stuff.
Resume stuff, getting your ID.me account set up, or working on CVs, filling out job apps, things like that. That's a free service to any person who comes into our library. And then there's also a few government forms and things that we can help you find and print out as well that are also free. So
Yes.
lots of free stuff.
Lots of free. Thank you, Drew. Great point. Anything else on Hoopla that we didn't discuss?
If you're a comic book reader, Hoopla has a really solid comic collection.
Really?
Yes. Really solid comic collection. Yeah. And I'm kind of like, I'm not a comic reader. I'm not like oh man, I got to get the new thing.
Right.
But every now and again, it's like, oh, that's cool. So, but there's still, it's a good selection that's in there. You're going to find some nice popular stuff. Also music. You know, you're going to have a hot new release coming out. It's going to be there more than likely.
Wow. See, I learned something new
Yeah.
all the time from y'all.
And everything in there. And that's one of the cool things about Hoopla. It's a little different than some of the other services in that Hoopla, like, you're not going to wait. It's unlimited copies of everything for everybody. It's not like it's not like walking into the library where we might have one copy of a book or like two copies of a DVD. And if 10 people are wanting that same thing, you're going to be in the middle of that line. With Hoopla, it's going to check out for you. There's no waiting period. You're not putting something on hold. It's, I would like to borrow this.
Click.
Yep.
Exactly.
And so it's a great place to go, especially if it's there, because you're not going to wait. If you have a time-sensitive need, or it's just like, I have to see this movie now, click.
Yep.
And to reiterate, you need a library card for all these things that we are going to be talking about today.
Yes.
So you'll need your library card number and PIN, I believe, to even access
Yes.
Hoopla to
Yeah.
create that initial account.
Right.
Gotcha. And I love that Hoopla is not only like a desktop, you can access it on your laptop, you can access on your iPad, but it's also an app. And one thing that I found with the audiobook specifically, I haven't explored the music and the other things, but I was on an airplane and I was able to download the audiobook to my actual computer. So I was able to stream it just on airplane mode, which I was like, what? That's amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it becomes really convenient because you can take it with you. It's not dependent on, like the airplane thing, it's not dependent on having a Wi-Fi connection. So even if you're somewhere with terrible Wi-Fi, but you've got the insult connection, which is like the one bar that doesn't work.
Right.
You know, that even if you've got that, you know, and it's not really wanting to stream, if you've got it downloaded, just pull it up, bam.
Yes. I'm a Hoopla fan. So that's why we kicked it off with this one.
Oh, yeah. And speaking to that, we have several patrons who come in. They don't have Wi-Fi, although we do have an alternative for them. But they'll come in, they'll use the Wi-Fi with their phone, they'll connect to it, and then they'll just download all the books that they were wanting to read and all the music they wanted to listen to, and then they're on their way.
Yep.
Wow.
And
That sounds like a good
see 'em in
segue
couple
right
weeks.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a good segue, Hannah?
That is a great segue. So, what if I don't have Wi-Fi? What can I do?
Well, there's a couple things. One, we do have Wi-Fi in building.
Yes.
But that's not particularly portable. It's really hard to pick up the library building and carry it with you.
Right.
And we do close at 8:30.
We do
and
close at
we will
8:30.
insist you go
Yeah.
Go home.
go home.
But we do have mobile hotspots, and that's little, they're about this big.
Yeah.
But they
They can fit in your pocket. They're very portable.
They straight up fit in your pocket. And, probably about the size of a wallet or something like that. And they run a Wi-Fi signal. So you can connect devices, they unlimited, data on them, and you check those out from the library. There's kind of a process to do that.
What is the process like to check out one?
It's pretty straightforward. You need to have a library card. In the case of that, we also would like to see your ID at the same time.
Okay.
Just to
Verify.
this is you. This is not, we want the person who's responsible, for it on their card to be the one checking it out.
Gotcha.
You have to be an adult to get one as well.
So 18 over?
17.
We said 17.
17
over.
and 10. Yeah, that's
it'd
right.
Be 17
Okay.
over. And then for that, it's we've got a little agreement to sign that kind of you acknowledge, yes, I'm checking this item because they're a little higher value.
Right.
Item. But, you kind of acknowledge that. You acknowledge the policy about, that they don't renew. You need to bring them back inside. You can't put them in the drop box.
Gotcha.
So there's a couple things like that, just acknowledging that you understand it. But then you can check it out, and you've got a solid, good 4G Wi-Fi connection there.
It works. I got one that was T-Mobile hotspot, and it's worked. I had a car ride, and I was working, and I was like, wow, this was perfect. It worked great. The battery life is really good service. And so how long can someone have the Wi-Fi hotspot? Like, what is the checkout time?
It's a 3-week.
Okay, so I'm not late yet. I was like, wait, I have to return this eventually.
Yeah, no, 3 weeks.
It's 3 weeks, just like our books.
Okay.
Now, it does carry a higher late fine than our
Good
books.
to know.
And we've gone up recently on our fine.
Yeah, it's a $1 a day late fee
Okay,
for
yeah,
those.
I'm sorry, it's going to cost you 1 cup of cheap coffee. Return it on time.
Return it on time.
I do have a question. How much does it cost to rent one of those Wi-Fi hotspots?
Once again,
You know.
it is free.
It is again $0.
Yes.
Okay, I'm getting the hang of this.
Whole $0. Yes, once again, brought to you by the Rowlett Public Library.
Black Friday sale. It is free now, just like it is everywhere else.
Yes. All we ask is that you return our things on time.
And in good condition, I'm sure.
Yes, in good condition. That is part of the contract. You agree that you're not going to drop kick it or, let your pets play with it or, let your kids chew on it, anything like that.
That's good. And then when I walked in, I was like, oh, I can just get a Wi-Fi hotspot. And I can't remember. I think you checked me or someone at the front desk, whoever checked me out, was like, actually, let me see if we have one. I was like, oh, I thought I could just walk in and just get one. They're pretty in demand.
And that's because, I knew that we had one because I had just put one back in the drawer right then. Just like, yeah, we got one. But that is something that generally occurs is they're all checked out and people have them on hold. So just like walking in going, oh, it's Friday afternoon, I'd like a hotspot. There's a good chance that you might just need to put your name on hold and we'll let you know when one's available.
Gotcha. So how does that process work? So if I needed one, it wasn't there. There's a list. I just give you my name and then do y'all call to let me know that the Wi-Fi hotspot is available, or what is that process like?
Yes. So once again, like most of our collection, we will look you up in our system and then we place you on hold in our system. And then so as soon as one comes available, because there is a little bit of turnaround, once someone returns one, we have to give it to the computer whisperer, make sure it's still in good condition, and some behind the scenes things with, of course, the phone company. But once it becomes available, then it will show up in our queue for holds, and our CERC staff will pull one for you and then put your little name on it.
Yes.
We put it aside for you, and then they'll contact you based upon what you said your preferences were. So some people prefer phone calls, some people it's email, some people it's text. It's however you set up your account system for us to contact you.
Right.
And we'll let you know, and you can come on in, and we'll grab the one with your name on it.
Amazing. And I know y'all just got more the hotspots in. So there actually is more now, which is super
there will
exciting.
be.
There will be. Okay.
Yeah. We will be adding some, and that's kind of a process of getting those ready and getting them out. Kind of the same, the backroom stuff, the things that no one sees.
The dungeon room stuff.
Yes, the things that no one sees, what it takes to get something ready to go out on the floor. So that's that. They're kind of in that process now, but that is something that we will be adding in the not too distant future.
Amazing. Another great resource. So let's move to, I think the next one is there anything else we want to say about Wi-Fi hotspots?
Oh, they're great.
Yeah,
You're great.
Awesome.
They're great. I've used them.
I've used them.
Yeah, they're. We actually use them in library too, because sometimes you'll see us out at an event somewhere. If we've got a computer or we got something going on, chances are we've got one or two of those with us to run our computers off of, so we can do stuff. So.
Awesome. Well, check out the free Wi-Fi hotspot with your library card for sure. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about, I'm not as familiar with, to be honest, but we briefly talked about it last week, but Libby/Overdrive. It has two names. Right? So that might be confusing to maybe someone who's on your website, like what is Libby/Overdrive? Why is there two names? Like what is this resource?
Yeah. Do you want to speak to this one?
Sure. So Overdrive is the name. It's another e-audiobook resource. And that started, that's a pretty big staple of the library world. That's been around for a long time. Several years. That's one of those, like, if you go to a library, you can almost lay money they're going to have Overdrive.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a guarantee. There are other very big ebook providers and everything, but that's a very big name in library world. And with Overdrive, they've kind of, where Libby comes from is basically they added a new app. So
Gotcha.
Overdrive is the company, and Overdrive is like kind of the legacy app, if you will. It still exists, but they created a easier to use, a lot more streamlined app called Libby.
Okay.
So it's like Libby by Overdrive.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So what else can you do with it? How is it similar to Hoopla? What is the main differences?
It functions a little bit different. It's
Okay.
a lot more like walking into the library itself.
Yeah.
So when you look at like Overdrive, Libby, anything like that, compared to Hoopla, like earlier I said, like you can just go borrow something and it's a click.
Right.
With Libby, Overdrive stuff, you might be in a waiting list. It might be like putting a book on hold, and then you've got a checkout period. Now the checkout limits are different in that you know you don't have the 5 a month limitation. It's not the same thing.
Okay.
But with that is something, if you're looking for something popular, chances are you're going to be in a wait list for it.
Wow. Okay. And these are digital resources, like so you.
Yes.
Wow. Interesting.
Yep.
Hey
So
Drew,
it's
this one's also $0.
the
You stole my thunder.
price.
Oh,
We
so
will not be undersold.
so is it? Do a lot of people use Libby/Overdrive? Do you see?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yes. It's very growing trend with our older populations because it does have the added ability of you can make things bigger. And a
Nice.
lot of them are liking their tablets for the size change. And also traveling, when you're traveling to go see the grandkids or the rest of the country. Once again, you can check out your books. You can download them onto your device, so it will talk to Kindle.
Oh, amazing.
Not as nicely as Android, but it will do it.
Gotcha.
And it'll also do your phones, your iPads, any other tablets you have, like your Samsung devices, anything like that. It will download them as well, so you don't have to worry about the internet issue as much. Now, the only thing is because it is, like Colton said, a checkout, after your time limit is up, the 3 weeks are up, it does remove it off of the device. So some people forget that.
Right. Like, where did it go?
Yeah, they come in and they're like, I was reading this. Like, yeah, you should have read it. You have to share it with other people. And so it's just kind of nice too, because as an ebook, it also has a little bit of functionality. So you can do some of the highlighting. You can do,
cool.
some of them will allow you to read while it highlights. So those with dyslexia or vision issues, it's very handy for that.
And also, you mentioned like the text size change. You can also do like with a lot of like tablet type stuff. You can also do color alterations.
Oh,
so
cool.
there are particular eye conditions where like you like a normal book where you've got the lighter background with a black print.
Right.
There are eye conditions and stuff where if you invert that and you've got black background with white print, you can read fine. So all those color alterations also fit into that, so you can get something that's a lot easier on your eyes, or that you're able to read through that means too.
That is so cool.
And it bookmarks where you last read and all those wonderful things. So if you want to bookmark several spaces, so say you're doing research, it'll store all your little bookmarks for you, and you can quickly go back and reference your materials. And then, like Hoopla, it also does audiobooks, does the ebooks, there is some music, I believe, in it.
You can catch a little bit of that kind of along the side of the audiobooks, but that's the bulk of what it is. You're not going to have the TV. You're not going to have the movies.
Right.
And one thing particular about Overdrive, and this is common with how some libraries use Overdrive, and it's how we use Overdrive, is a lot of libraries will go together on Overdrive.
What does that mean? Go together.
So there's a terminology in library world called consortium. And you can have consortia of different libraries in different ways. It could be a group of libraries who have actually said we're going to pool all of our resources.
Gotcha.
And so we're all different libraries. We all have our own policies and procedures. It's not like a system where if you go into like one Dallas branch or one Fort Worth branch, it's going to be the same policies and procedures as the others. But they've taken and they've gone, okay, we're going to be our own libraries, but let's take and pool all of our catalogs so everybody can share the materials. So person at Library A can go, hey, I'd like to read this book. Well, Library A doesn't have it, but maybe this other library does over here. So they can either get it or have it sent there from that other library. And that's just part of the thing. It's no different.
Wow.
They're using it no different than if they were using their own library. That's how a lot of e-resources also go. So our Overdrive, our Libby, is part of a consortium with a pretty good number of other libraries kind of in this area. So it's not just our collection, it's what everybody from that is pulling into it. So the collection becomes quite large when you've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 or more libraries all putting in, going, let's add these books, let's add these audiobooks. So it becomes quite large and you get a really good selection out of it.
Wow, sharing is really caring.
Indeed.
It is.
I just love library culture. I just love the sharing. I think you told us one story that in Japan, a City of Rowlett book ended up in that it was sent back.
We've had books sent back. I've worked at other libraries, and people will leave their books on airlines, and so the airlines will send us back our books. Also, we've sent books back to other states where they wind up in our book drop.
Wow.
People move, and they just kind of...
Here you go.
It's a library.
They'll figure it out.
Sometimes you get a random box in the mail and it's like, what's this? And it's just like, sorry, we moved and we forgot we had these checked out. We found them in a box.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Yeah, or, Katy Hill Library and, somewhere in Arizona mails us back one of our books. They're like, it showed up in our book drop.
I love it. So that's amazing. So I love that y'all come together with other libraries to have a robust system for people to use for free with your library card.
For free with that library card. That's right.
Amazing. Is there anything else that we didn't touch on before we move on to the next resource we want to talk about for Libby Overdrive?
No.
Not really.
No. If you, because once again, the nice thing too about Libby, and I shouldn't admit it, is that it does let you add other libraries as well. So you don't have to feel like if you add Rowlett Public Library, or if you've already been to Garland and you have just recently discovered our wonderful library, you're not locked into just Garland. You can also add our library as well.
And it's a really easy process in the Libby
Yeah.
app for that too, because it's not like you're gonna have to sign out of an account and sign back in.
Okay.
It's like you have like the library cards that you use, and so you could have multiple library cards, and you can swap between those cards and what you have checked out on those cards.
Wow.
So that's kind of a thing that it makes easy for you. I mean, and that's probably a really just general good advice. If you're torn between using the Overdrive app and the Libby app, use the Libby app.
Gotcha.
You want to use the Libby app.
Use the Libby app.
Yeah.
So it's an app that I can get on my phone and also a website that I can access. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So kind of like
Libby is
Hoopla.
also a website.
Yes, it is also a website.
Amazing. And don't worry, we will have these links to access all these things in our show notes, and it's also on the library website, which we'll get to at the end of this. But don't worry, you will find these links very easily. Awesome. So I want to talk about curbside checkout. Is that something that y'all implemented during the pandemic? Has that always been an opportunity, and what do people even still use it now? Because I know we're kind of getting back to normal-esque, but talk about curbside checkout and what that resource is.
Curbside really ramped up with COVID, of course. There was lots of concerns about how the virus spreads, like whether it's on surfaces, not on surfaces, in the air, all those wonderful things. And so we still continue our curbside, though. Basically, what you'll do is you'll put your books on reserve through the catalog. And once the list comes up, our wonderful circ staff, they will pull all those books for you. They put your name on them. We put them on our hold shelf. And then when you arrive, we have our phone number. You just call us. Although I think we're pretty much on speed dial for most of our big users. And if you're not one of our regular users, we ask you, like, what's the make and model of your car? 'Cause you just pull right up to the front. Although there's a few we already know. And then what we do is we just pull them off the hold shelf, and then we check them out to your account. And then we will bag them and bring them right out to your car. So it's very useful for people, like some of our bigger families will do it.
Mm-hmm.
You've already got 6 kids in the car with you, and everybody's not feeling it. So you just call us. We'll grab all of your books. We'll bring them out to you, and that way you don't have to do the whole wrangling of children.
Yes.
If you're our more senior patrons also use it as well. Just if you're in a rush, you're just making your little stops to do your errands, call us. We'll pull your books and check them out, bring them out to you. No worries.
So I read online on Facebook that it costs $10 per delivery. Is that correct?
Colton, are you collecting for student loans or something?
Well, if we,
I would. I'm not gonna lie.
If we hit some of like the Snopes and the fact checking websites, we're gonna find that is in fact fiction, and this is also $0.
Oh, okay.
Once again, free money. So I guess that if anybody
Internet
asks you for $10,
I know Abraham Lincoln told us you couldn't trust everything on it,
right? But. Man, I should have thought of that. Thanks.
Is it like a tipping option, does someone slide you a 5 or something?
No, I'm sorry. We are city officials. We cannot take gifts.
It is free, everyone.
It's free. It is free. You do not have to tip us. If you want to give a tip, we appreciate a smile and a thank you.
Yep, that's
once
we're
again,
here
also
to help.
free to give.
Right.
Yeah.
So you said to do curbside checkout, you go to access the library's catalog and kind of select from there. Mm-hmm. Where do you find the library's catalog?
So you can go to our website.
Okay, rowlett.com/library.
Yep.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You'll see a link right up top.
Okay.
It's right up top, and there's kind of a side menu bar on the left side, right up top. Library catalog. You can go in there if you've got an account. That's just a sign in with your card and PIN number. So even the hotspots we were talking about, that's something, if you want something on hold, you can always give us a call, and we're happy to look for something and see if we've got it, put it on hold for you. We're happy to do that. But a lot of people find it easy to just browse, put things on hold themselves through the catalog.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of a simple process once you're logged in with your card and your PIN number.
Yep.
And you can also manage everything else from there, too. You can see what you've got checked out. You can see if you've got things overdue, coming up due, see the due dates, renew things. All of that's also done from there.
Yep.
Oh, good
But
to
it makes
know.
it real easy because we do have patrons who constantly have, the max number of holds on their account. We've got some really good movie watchers that they will go through and they see, new movies coming in, hold. And so that's kind of a thing. We have a couple families with children's books that they're looking for the new children's books. Whenever there's a new picture book coming in, they're going through them, and you can spot them on the shelf. There'll be 10, 15 things for one person.
Wow.
So
we can spot the teachers, so we know when the themes are coming through.
Yeah, you see a shelf of weather books. It's like, it's weather week at school.
Second grade is learning about trees now.
Oh, so cool.
But yeah. And the nice thing, too, is it also will let you know where you are in the queue for holds. So our popular
good.
things, which some people have said they have found that helpful, because if they find out, hey, I'm number 7 for this book, please understand it's going to be a while before we call you.
Right.
You've got,
Maybe pick something
6
else.
other people
Yeah.
with 3 weeks apiece.
Well, and that kind of factors in, too, because we do a pretty good job of bringing in, things when we know there's a high demand for something.
Yes.
Every now and again, something kind of just slides up beside you and goes, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?"
Yeah.
And
we had a couple of griefers.
and a good case in point recently was the Jeanette McCurdy. I'm glad my mom died.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's one of those things
yeah.
that out of nowhere, no one saw that book coming. So everybody's having trouble getting it. Everybody wants to read it. So that's one of those things that, you might see, I'm number 10 on the list for it right now. But that's also kind of one of those things that you're not going to find it anywhere else. So,
Right.
Honestly, the fastest way in that case is probably stay number 10. So but that's one of those things too. So you can kind of see where you are, and you can also see how many copies we have of something too in the catalog.
Yeah.
So
Excellent.
with if we've got like 5 of a book or 2 copies of a movie or 3 copies of a movie, whatever it is, you'll be able to see that in the catalog as well. So that kind of lets you do your math on when am I probably going to get this.
Right.
Yeah, because and sometimes that's why we tell people don't panic, because once again, you could be number 10, but if we've got 5 copies, I mean, you'll move through the list fairly fast.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and so that is kind of that's a little of the dungeon work there. It's going, okay, we're going to have this amount of demand for this item, so we're going to need this many copies. It's a thing we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, the more you know. Dungeon secrets right here on the My Rowlett podcast. Okay, curbside checkout. Well, you'll definitely be seeing me pull up in the front, probably to get more Wi-Fi checkout,
Yes,
maybe some
just-
books.
Just give us a call. Don't honk. Don't flash your lights.
Amazing. Okay, and the final one I have on our list for this episode, again, we will have many episodes talking about all the great resources at the library. But for this episode, the last one we're going to touch on is copy, printing, and computer use.
Yes.
Tell us what that resource is. And again, before Drew asks, it is free.
What? Gosh.
Beating him to it.
Okay, there's a certain part that's free.
Oh, there's a
I've been
certain.
waiting for this.
Oh,
Yeah.
see?
Been waiting.
Okay.
I know.
Thank you for the correction. Yes. So, what is free in that list? The copy, printing, and computer use, and then what is not free, and the pricing structure of those things.
Okay.
Copying and printing, is 15 cents a page, black and white, and $1 per page, color, and that is it. And then any type of like using our computers, we have computers for public use in the library, and that's something that you can come in, you can use. That's free. And we do have a lot of people that really don't need to print things, but you have a lot to do online anymore, so we've got people that come in, they'll do classwork online, they'll just surf,
Wow.
they'll need to do stuff, email, some people do business stuff, they need to have a place to just kind of have an environment that's more conducive to working, whatever it is. But the computer use is just included with your card. When you sign up for a card, you'll have an extra thing that says, yes, I'd like to use the computers.
Okay.
And so that's just an extra little agreement there on our card application. And then even with the copying and printing, you don't have to be in library to use the computers, to copy and print. You don't have to use our system. You can do that remotely from your phone.
Wow.
Yep. We use an app called Printer On, and many of our people have gotten savvy to it. So once you download the app, it's on both platforms for Android and Apple. And basically, it just shows up as part of how you want to print or share your document.
Okay.
And it sends, once you choose the Rowlett printer, it will send it, it stores it for 24 hours, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
On our system?
maybe not. It's either 12 or 24.
Okay.
But basically within a day, within the context of
so
a day.
you don't have to
yeah.
send it and then rush to us.
Gotcha.
You can send it in the morning, and then we can be a part of your route of errands, and you can come in. And then basically it just asks you for whatever email you used to identify what is your items.
Gotcha.
And you'll come to our kiosk, and it will release your prints once you pay us the 15 cents per page, black and white, single-sided.
Single-sided. Okay.
And kind of also just to throw in a good thing that kind of to be aware of if you're coming by the library to print. We do take cards, but with printing, a lot of times you get a lot of 30-cent prints, a lot of 45-cent prints kind of a thing, and we do not do credit or debit cards for under $5. So
That
if
makes
you've got a
sense.
lot of printing and everything, that's a great thing to do. But if you're doing the smaller dollar prints, it'll be a cash transaction. We do have, and you don't have to see us for that. We do have, coin machines on the printers and on the
I've
copy
seen those,
machines.
yes.
So that's something you can just go over there and do. And like with Printer On, there are people, and we see it like multiple times a day. They'll walk in, they'll go over here. You'll see the printer, you'll hear it, and they leave.
And they leave.
And they
Yep.
leave.
I think my favorite printing story that Nancy shared is the tattoo shop that's in downtown Rowlett.
Yes.
actually has been a really good source of more patrons for the library.
Yes. So your neighbor's fresh image.
I love this story. It's so good.
Yeah. So, I mean, we get people who regularly use our computers on a fairly regular basis. But one Friday, we noticed there was like a steady stream of people coming in, and they're like, I need to use your computer. I need to print something out. And we're like, okay. And generally we'll ask you, do you have a library card with us? And if you do, we just let you know. You just have a seat, type in your card number, put in your PIN. And then if you don't, then we'll sign you up for a membership, right? And so we had several people who were like, "Oh, no, I don't have a membership. How much does it cost?" And we tell them it's free.
Oh.
And so they just go ahead, they sign up for a membership, they sit down, they'd send something to the printer, and then they'd leave. And we probably had 20, 30 people within a few hours that did this. And we were like, what in the world is going on, right? People printing their own money? What? Which is illegal, by the way. So finally we stopped and we asked one person, and they were like, so that tattoo place, they're doing their Friday the 13th special. And we were like, huh? And they were like, yeah. I don't know if I'd chance a tattoo on Friday the 13th, but
Right.
you know.
Hey, it's cheaper. It's not free, but
It's
it is
not
cheaper.
free, but it is cheaper. It is a deal they run. But at any rate, so part of that lower expense is that you have to come in with your own image. And so people hadn't brought images that they wanted, right? So apparently our now good friends over here at Fresh Image were telling people, oh, well, you can just go to the library. They're right across the street. And you can print out a copy of your image, right? And so, I still owe them like a fruit basket or something because we got about 20 cards off of them that day. Brand new memberships from people who were like, yeah, I need to print my stuff. Wow, so this is the library. Okay.
Didn't know this was here.
Yeah.
What an unlikely partnership. The
I'm
Fresh
telling
Image
you.
Tattoo Shop in the library. Y'all need each other.
Exactly. So, if you need an image for your tattoo, come on by. 15 cents, you can get a printout.
But I mean, that's the thing that happens. Especially like beginning of the school year. Like as people need documents and they'll be doing stuff for getting ready for school and everything. Inevitably, you get into part of August, late July. Here comes like a constant stream of people over the course of a week or two. They're all printing school stuff. So you get weird runs that occur like that based on something that's going on somewhere. Either there's a sale going on down the street, or it's time for school, or what have you. Sometimes you get strange kind of things where everybody needs the same thing or similar things.
Yeah, we also get the post-Christmas uptick from everybody printing off their return labels for Amazon.
Yeah. Also a thing that happens.
Wow.
Yep.
Amazing. I'll see all the things that you can do with copy and printing at your library. That's amazing. So we've talked a lot about, these are the 5 things we've talked about. Again, stay tuned for more, but these are the 5 that we picked for this specific episode. So we talked about it's free, and you need your library card. Again, to reiterate, you need your library card to access these things. How easy is it to get a library card?
Stunningly easy.
It is stunningly easy, yes. If you did not see on social media, we posted a reel or in a video to kind of talk about, it literally shows you step by step, and I think it was less than 40 seconds. I mean, we did speed some things up, but it's a pretty easy process. So what do I do? Do you have to be a Rowlett resident? Just kind of walk us through the general process.
For the most part, you just need to live in Texas. That's
perfect.
That is the kind of main thing as be a Texas resident. What we're going to look for is a photo ID with a current address.
Okay.
So
and it doesn't have to be a Rowlett address.
Doesn't
it's
have
just
to be
Texas.
Rowlett.
But
Just
a Texas
Texas.
license doesn't have to be Rowlett.
it doesn't have to be Rowlett. So,
Or
because a lot of people
state
move.
ID card
Yeah.
or your passport.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
some combination of
military ID.
photo ID, and a current address.
Does a Costco card count too? Because that has my photo on it.
I'm sorry.
Oh, dang. I know. Okay, so no
And
Costco
we do not
cards.
take other library cards either. We're only friendly to a point with our fellow libraries.
Okay, there is a boundary there with
There-
other libraries.
yes, there are
okay,
limits.
good to know.
If you've just moved, we have options too.
Yeah,
as
we
well
Okay.
for you.
Yeah, because that's, I mean, a lot of people moving into Texas, a lot of people moving into Rowlett. That's a thing that's happening. So if you're coming here, and you know, we do have people that are coming, oh man, I just moved either from somewhere else in the state or from, you know, out of state. I don't have my address updated yet. So if you've got your ID, just show us your photo ID and a current address. So, you know, phone bill or phone bill,
water bill,
utility bill,
yeah,
utility bill.
electric
Okay.
bill.
Phone bill would have been a thing like 20, 30 years ago.
No, Verizon's still billing me. Trust me.
They're still sending me.
Yeah.
Yeah, trust me.
But yeah, utility bill, lease agreement, just something, insurance if you've got it updated in your insurance.
Gotcha.
Whatever that is, plus your photo ID. And if it's an out-of-state license, and you've got the proof of Texas, you know, address, we can do that too.
Cool. So I just hand it to y'all at the front desk. You hand me there's an application or like a piece of paper, an agreement.
Short little like half sheet.
Yep.
Right. You'll pick your pen. You'll write your all your personal information. If
Yeah.
you're a minor, has all that info on it too.
Right.
You sign. You hand it back.
Yep. Just make sure that the name you put on the application is the same name you handed us as the ID. We do ask that.
Perfect. Yes.
And that's kind of because you also mentioned like you know, children or something like that. So the cutoff is 17. So if you're under 17, we are going to need a parent guardian, you know, to you know, with both of you there to do a
Yes.
library card for you.
Gotcha.
They need to be
Once you're
present.
once you're 17, you know, then we'll.
Woo! All the bucks.
Yeah, but that is a question we get a lot because we'll have parents that'll come in like during the day kids are in school.
Gotcha.
Oh, can I go ahead and get a library card for my two kids? Are they here? No, they're in school. Okay, come back when they're out of school.
Gotcha.
So that's we need to see the people who are getting cards need to be in the building. That's the main thing.
Good to know.
Yep.
And so,
So-
yeah, you'll sign the card, you get it, and then you're free to use it that moment, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Wow. There's no processing time. It is just you're ready to
immediate.
rock and roll.
Yep, you're immediately in our system.
You know,
We've had
we do
people-
have a first time checkout limitation
Yes.
of 5 items, but as soon as that's done, then it goes to the max checkout. You know, which max checkout with us is actually 40 books.
Wow.
10 DVDs.
Cool.
50 items total.
Yep.
We let you do the math on how you get there.
Perfect. Well, visit the library for that. Is there an online application or do you have to be in person to do all this?
In person.
In person.
In person. So go visit the library, downtown Rowlett. What is y'all's address?
We are 3900 Main Street, Suite 200.
Suite 200. You can't miss them. They're under the big village sign
Yes.
with Mark Twain sitting out front.
That's right. Look for Mark Twain.
Look for Mark Twain. He's there. Okay, so it is super easy. So if you do not have your library card, I hope this inspired you to walk in and get yours. So you mentioned, Nancy, that you are also in charge of a lot of the adult programming. So I know there's more than adult program happening, but what are some things that are upcoming? We're in November now, which is crazy. And I know y'all's programming will be changing and updating probably in January. But what is some things that we can do upcoming?
Well, we have several things coming up. As always, we highly suggest check out the website.
Rowlett.com/library.
Yes.
Got it.
And of course, you know, Facebook as well. But we also print our monthly calendar that has all of our activities. It's in lovely little gridded format on the front for those of us who are picture minded.
Yes.
And then for our more linear friends, we have explanations on the back listing all of our activities by age. So coming up on the 14th, we will be doing artisanal butter.
What?
Yes.
We're going to make our own butter.
We are
and then we're
churning
gonna-
butter? Are we going to be
Not quite
okay,
churning.
Okay.
But we are going to go from heavy cream to butter,
Wow.
and then you're going to spice it up however you like it.
Oh. Who knew you can make butter at the Rowlett Public Library?
That's right. And so we'll do that at 6:30
Okay.
on the 14th. And then for our teens, we actually are doing a book and movie talk.
Ooh.
So we change it up every month for all of our activities. So even our Make Our Mondays, which are the second Monday of the month, we change up the activities. They're for people who are 14 and older. So even our teens can join us.
Amazing.
Yep. We just ask that it be teens and adults, simply because we do kind of get into a few more things like power tools, and
Gotcha.
so probably not appropriate for toddlers. But our teens, back to our teens, so we have our teen takeover, which will be happening on the Saturday, and we are doing Ready Player One.
And that's the 19th, I believe.
Yes.
Saturday. Perfect. Yes.
Yep. So we'll watch Ready Player One. They can come by the library, pick up a copy of the book beforehand, and then we'll have some discussions about the differences
cool.
between the movie and the book, and just kind of how does it relate in their lives as well, you know? And we, like I said, we change that up every month. And we also have adult trivia coming up.
Oh, yes.
So that will be on our fourth Monday. We start at 6:30. And this month we are doing Friends.
Oh, cool. Wow. What a perfect. Okay. Friends lovers, come on out, because
Yes.
there's a many of us out there. So
yes.
come on down.
So we are going
Test your knowledge.
Yeah, we are going to stress what you know about Friends, the TV show, or otherwise. Yes, we always leave it open.
The one with the library trivia.
Yes. And we use Kahoot to play that. That's an app for your phone.
Okay.
If you don't have a phone, don't worry about it. We have iPads at the library that we can use for you. So everybody, we find a way for you to join in. And it gets pretty heated.
I'm sure.
So, and then we do give away a first prize. So
Wow.
it's not just about bragging rights.
There is actual prizes.
There are actual prizes.
Free prizes.
Yeah. And then, of course, I forgot to mention, because it's already passed, but every first Wednesday of the month, we do have our senior book club.
Oh, cool.
Which you don't necessarily have to be a senior in order to join it. It's but it does happen at 1 o'clock in the day, which is a little easier for a lot of our seniors.
Right. Unless you're an entrepreneur and you can make your own time.
That is
But
true. That
just
is
saying.
true. And so they read a wide variety of books. Their list of books that they're doing for their book club is also on our website as well.
Amazing.
Yep. So just go to look in our little side tab and click on adults, and you can find our book club. And then, of course, ongoing, we have our GED and ESL classes as well. Those are also free.
Oh,
Yes. Now, GED does incur a few costs, but they are what we consider more pass-through costs. So, like the instruction book that we need, and then the state exams themselves. But we are working on a few options for those because we are revamping that program.
Wow.
So
We'll have to do a whole podcast episode or mention that in depth because
Oh,
it's a great
gosh.
resource. But yes.
yes.
Definitely look
yeah,
more
I
into
haven't
that.
even talked about all the things we do with the kids.
Lot.
This is
Family
scratching-
story
What
time.
we talked
Yeah.
about today is scratching the surface.
Yes.
Oh,
It is-
yes.
It is absolutely scratching the surface.
Wow. And then you also have food for fines this month.
We do. So for all of those who may have forgotten to turn their books in on time, we don't judge. Just like, but
why are you looking at me?
But we are offering our food for fines so that if you bring in any non-perishable food items, then for each one of those items, we will take $1 off of your fine, so late fees. Unfortunately, that does not apply to any of like our costs that we incur for the work that Colton and Esmeralda have to do.
Damage control.
Yeah. Yeah. So any of our fees that are for replacement costs or handling repair costs, anything like that, it does not count towards, unfortunately.
Okay. So, and then to reiterate, y'all do have a printed program that you can get physically at the library.
Mm-hmm.
You'll also have a monthly newsletter that you can subscribe to get
Yes.
all things wrapped up. It's also all of y'all's events have a separate tab on the Rowlett.com website that you can access. So I highly recommend doing all those things. Definitely subscribe to the newsletter. That's where I get all my information from y'all, because you'll have so much, almost every day, essentially, you'll have something going on. And then also follow y'all on social media. So y'all are both on Facebook and Instagram. So definitely check them out there. You know, I think it's at City of Rowlett Public Library. We will have that link, of course, in the show notes, and it's also Rowlett.com. You can access that as well. But definitely look them up there. Is there anything, so what hours are y'all open? I think that's the last thing we want to touch on before we wrap this conversation up.
We are open Monday through Thursday from 9:30 a.m. until 8:30 p.m. And then on Friday and Saturday, we close a little bit earlier. We're open from 9:30 a.m. until 5:30 p.m.
Awesome.
And we are closed on Sundays.
Okay, good to know. So y'all are not affected by it, because a lot of city facilities have gone to 4-day work weeks, but y'all's hours have stayed the same.
The same.
Yep.
Perfect. So do not fret. They are still open the normal times you're used to.
We are still full tilt boogie. Library hours.
Library.
But kind of like we talked about today too, with like Hoopla and Overdrive and a lot of that's kind of even scratching the surface on what we have digitally too. There's
Right.
other digital services.
Oh, gosh,
And
yes.
those things are 24/7.
Yep.
Hoopla is not going to shut down when we close the doors at night.
Good
So
point.
that's something that while we're here for those hours during the week, those are going to run 24/7, 365 for you.
Yep.
So
And even after we close, go ahead, put any books you need on hold. As soon as our staff comes in, we run our reports, we pull them for you, and they're usually ready to go not long after we open.
Wow. This was such a great, robust call. I learned so much. I hope our listeners, y'all learned so much. I hope y'all, if you have never visited the public library, please go visit them. If you need some tech help, Colton's your dude. Woo, yes. And if you're an adult, hit up Nancy, and she can help you with some resume stuff, whatever, everything. Y'all do everything. It is incredible. Like, just thank you for serving our citizens so well. It means a lot to me that I know that if there's someone struggling out there with something, that they can pretty much go to the library for it. It's incredible. It's an incredible resource that your tax dollars pay for. So might as well use it or lose it. Anyway, so thank you for your time. Don't want to lose it at all. Don't want to lose it. So thank you both for your time. And thank you guys so much for listening to the My Rowlett podcast. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or check out the video version on our YouTube channel. And if you would like to suggest a topic or person for us to interview, email us at podcast@rowlett.com. Make sure also to follow us on social media, and we will see you here soon, Rowlett. Have a great day.